Welcome to Weird Games and Weirder People, a podcast about role playing games and the weird, wonderful people behind them. Hello, Weirdos! Before I introduce you the guests of today, I want to remind you of the offer of Bundle of Holding, which has a really great Blades in the Dark bundle, which includes not only Blades in the Dark, but a lot of awesome games using the Forge in the Dark system, including Court of Blades from one of our previous guests, Navi Drake and Sean Drake, and my very own Kosmosaurs RPG, a space dinosaur ranger RPG that is very family friendly, easy to play, it's perfect for a holiday gift, and if you contribute, you can get all of those games, and part of the proceedings will go to Diana Jones Award, which help up-and-coming names in the tabletop RPG industry, and especially some of them that comes from marginalized communities. And our esteemed guest today is none other than Lukasz Kowalczuk from Poland. His work with comics and tabletop RPG is incredible. I have worked with him with Kosmosaurs and with many illustrations for Primal Quest, and he is very well known for his amazing webcomic series for Mork Borg, To Hell and Galgenback. We talk about many things such as the stress we have with the holiday season, parenthood, how we try to be better for our kids. We talk about mental health, our struggles with it, with depression and everything that we go through. We talk about influencing his work, like the 80s and Jack Kirby, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, all those things that make the 80s so iconic really shines through his work too. We talk about how he uses the Pomodoro technique to keep productive, how he thinks we should be more grateful for what we have, and how he has this very complicated relationship with comics, how he loves it and how he times has so much trouble with it, and how he hates the word, fan, and so many other topics. I think you should listen to it and have fun and, learn, and let's get weird with Lukasz Kowalczuk. Hello, Lucas. Welcome to Weird Games and Weirder People. First of all, my friend, how are you? It's great to see you in video for the first time and talk to you. How have you been, my friend?
I'm fine. It's great to be on your podcast. It was really nice to receive an invitation. It is not often I am invited anywhere, so so it is very nice, and I used to say that I'm moderately fine nowadays. Christmas are almost here, and I hate holidays.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a hard time always. Uh,
yeah,
I
for
don't like
everybody,
I
yeah.
don't like December. I don't like this time. I like the only good thing I like. Only one thing I like about it is my daughter. My daughter is happy because of the gifts, and seeing seeing her being happy. That's enough for
Helps,
me.
yeah.
So I'm I'm fine. I think I'm fine. I'm had some troubles like usual life stuff. So I'm back on track again. So
Yeah.
I'm working now Monday to Friday, usually like 8 to 4. So it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I remember, like in the beginning of the year, I was having a hard time too, and talk to you about some projects we were doing together, and you were also like going through stuff, and as you talked about holidays, it's always a hard time because everybody kind of has to see family. It, do you want to talk about this, or do you prefer just to skip it? But how what is your problem with holidays? For me, it's like having to see all these people again, and having these talks and pretend everything's fine and it's a happy family, and everybody kind of have you know traumas with one another in some way. So yeah,
Uh, that's the it's a family time, but it doesn't mean it's a quality time.
yeah, that's
These
true.
are
Yeah,
two different things, because I'm usually nervous about it. That's the first
yeah,
thing. I don't like. I love my family, but I like them mostly when they are separate, not all
yeah,
in
yeah.
one place. Because when we are all in one place, uh, I I'm just
You know, like
not the type of
tribal. Yeah,
person.
yeah,
I'm 40 years old, so I supposed to be okay with sitting at the table, eating for 3 4 hours, talking about weather and shit like that. But it's not the best way of spending time for me. So generally it's hard time. And if you consider the fact that I don't drink for, like, it will be 6 years now, and Christmas in Poland usually comes with alcohol. Uh, that's another thing that I don't like about Christmas. We don't have, while my parents are already dead, so we don't have people drinking too much in our family now. uh
yeah,
it's just a hard time. It's like,
yeah.
my parents died not so
A lot of
long
memories
ago.
too.
So yeah, so my dad died a year ago. But my mom died 2 years ago. So with them it was hard, without them it is even harder. So short, long story short, I don't like December. It's just, in general, I don't
Yeah,
like this
yeah,
time. I want to focus on
yeah,
my work now, and I
yeah,
think it,
yeah.
it helps it helps a lot.
Yeah, let's talk about it. And the first thing I want to ask you, what I ask everybody that comes here, is for you to talk about who you are, what you do, and if you can share a small detail about you. And then, because I want to hear from the people who come here, because ours sees these bills written, but in your own words. And maybe some people know you about the stuff to do RPGs, but I mean, I love your work with comics. You have a lot of work. You say you're not invited to podcasts a lot, and I don't see why. Uh, the, but anyway, we talk about this later. Say a little bit about who you are, the work you do, and just a small weird detail about you.
As I said, I'm 40 years old. I come from Poland. My name is Lukasz Kowalczuk. It is very hard to pronounce, and no one from outside our country is able to pronounce it correctly. So it's not a problem for me when it's not pronounced correctly. Uh, I used to say that I am comics creator most of all, and now I'm not that sure at this point because I do a lot of tabletop games related work. And I mean illustrations, I mean drawing for role playing games, for wargaming. I still do some comics, like To Hell and Galgenback, official Mork Borg webcomic,
Yeah,
but I don't do as much comics as I used to. And I also don't have a problem with it as I used to have, because comics are my life. Uh, I used to draw comics when I was a kid. This was my dream work, kind of dream job. When I was in high school
yeah,
and when I was at the university, I was doing some stuff that was not related with comics or anything like that. I used to be in punk bands, in hardcore punk bands. Uh,
Mhm.
so
Me too. That's the good stuff. Yeah.
some
Well,
people can say that I wasted like 6 or 7 years, but that was a good. It was a good time. I
yeah.
met a lot of people. I learned a lot. So when I came back to comics, I was 27, 28 years old. I came back to comics at the end of university. I was writing my final work. My I don't remember the English name for it.
E-
Need to check it out. Praca magisterska in one
English.
moment. Uh, master's
Yeah.
thesis.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
your master thesis. Yeah.
I wrote my master's thesis about comics. I am teacher of Polish language by degree, but I was writing about comics, and that was the spark that make me come back. I used to work as a graphic designer in some sometimes in some unserious and shady businesses. I learned a lot how not to do things, how not to do stuff, uh, and I can say that I'm professional illustrator, comics creator since 2019, something like that, for 5 years. For 5 or 6 years, I'm drawing I'm drawing illustrations and stupid stuff for life. My main influences are, I think that my main influence is 80s as a decade, as and I don't mean this
Yeah.
is some kind of some kind of synthwave laser cliche, but I mean 80s in general, as in my opinion, is one of the best, if not best, decade in history of popular culture. And I mean music, games, gaming, comics, everything that I'm
It's very
somehow
iconic. At least
interested.
maybe not the best, but it marked a generation, right? It was very iconic. Like the characters, the movies. Until up to date, they're making remakes of all that stuff from the 80s, right? So that
I'm
probably means
sorry, I
something.
just there are some problems in connection. I barely hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Or
Yes, I can hear you now. Yep.
what I said is that maybe the 80s are very iconic. Were so good because people keep making like remakes of this stuff. This stuff is still relevant to this day. People up to this day are still talking about stuff from the 80s, series, cartoons, movies, right?
Yes, but what I mean about the 80s being the best period, I would say that it's like from even not 80s, but like from middle 70s till middle 90s. Like before, like short before punk rock started and short before new metal started. Uh, it's the 20 years from 75 to 95. That's the best period of popular culture for me, the most the biggest, I have the biggest influences. However, 80s are the main thing, because if I will consider my favorite stuff like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's 80s. Warhammer,
Mhm.
it's 80s. Games for like NES, Nintendo, Commodore 64. It's mainly 80s. My favorite movies like Carpenter stuff, like The Thing, Prince of Darkness, Big Trouble in Little China. It's all 80s, and it's still it's still kind of diverse. It's a different it's a different stuff, but it has uh, I don't know. It's iconic, but it is
Yeah.
different, and notice the one thing that keep in mind that none of these titles, none of these. I don't want to use the word franchise because I hate it.
None of this
None of these,
universe is this.
none of these classic titles have this are like this synthwave, synthwave
Yeah,
cliché, like
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I get it.
so that's why I can say that 80s is my main influence. However, my favorite comics creator of all the time is Jack Kirby. So, but he was still doing something in 80s, but it wasn't. He was drawing, writing and drawing independent comics, not too many. Um, and yes, Jack Kirby is my favorite comics artist, and that's all about myself. Like for the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say the 80s has this vibe, this adventurous, experimental, and why not? Because of the podcast, it's kind of weird vibe, right? It doesn't it's not afraid to experiment and mix influence and puts dinosaurs in space or turtles. There are mutants and there are teenagers and there are ninjas. So it plays a lot of this, and since you're so into in this kind of aesthetics and ideas, I would like to ask you, how would you define weird for you, and why do you seek it in your work and in the art that you enjoy, and etc.
Weird is something that you can because of this weird. One moment, I need to find one word that will. I am sitting
Yeah,
with dictionary here, uh, and this is very useful because my English is quite Transylvanian.
yeah, mine is,
Element,
yeah,
component, the weird element makes the thing, whatever we are talking about, like comics or books.
yeah,
The weird element makes them memorable. You remember the thing that you read
yeah,
or
yeah,
watched. That's the one of definitions of weird for me. And again, the stuff I told you about, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, were uh, are still different. Um, you
yeah,
remember them because of the title, because of the characters. Uh, the same goes with
yeah,
Warhammer, with
the,
Carpenter movies,
yeah,
because
yeah,
for example, the thing was so scary and it was so strange that it wasn't, immediately success in cinemas when it was screened, because it was too weird. And on the
yeah.
opposite
Some
of
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 this,
of, of the
yeah,
weird, on
yeah.
the opposite
Some of
of
those
weird,
films.
we have. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
on the
What?
on the opposite of the weird, we have generic stuff, uh like art, like movies, like equivalent of water. You're drinking glass of water, and you are watching new, I don't know, Netflix movie for $200 million, and with some, like Gal Gadot or whatever, and you don't remember it. It's not weird. It doesn't have anything valuable in it. It's just is, and that's all.
It's
While
Yeah. It's
weird
what you
is
expect,
something
right?
that
Yeah.
makes weird is also different, and it's if when something is different, you will remember it. You can hate it, you can love it, but you are aware of existence of this thing. So that's weird for me. Of course, we can say that we have like weird fiction, we have other definitions, but weird means different, and it means that I remember something. It is really something, not anything. That's why
Yeah, yeah,
that's what I understand by weird.
yeah. I agree. It's something uh, that sets apart from everything else that's similar to that. So you say like fantasy nowadays to make every fantasy with elves, orcs, and dwarves, and there's a castle and the dragon. But if you want to make weird fantasy, you have to have something that stands out of that, you know, and mixed with other things. It has to say, oh, it's not like the other fantasy novels that are out there. There isn't like the elves aren't elves as you if you picture an elf, it's not like that in that thing. For to make an elf weird, you can't imagine Lord of the Rings kind of elves or anything like this. If you want to make a elf weird again or something like this,
You can
makes
make
sense or not?
yeah, you can, but look, you can make weird in in different ways. Like
Yeah,
you can do
true,
a generic setting, let's say generic fantasy setting with dwarfs, with elves, with all these Tolkien like Tolkien like creations. Uh, but if you will find a person who will illustrate it in different way, if you will have different
true.
illustrations,
Yeah,
weird illustrations, if you will draw different dwarfs, different elves,
yeah, of
just
course. Yeah,
make mix something, use something else, or the artist will use a different media,
yeah,
whatever. It will stand out somehow. It can stand out, but if you will use all the tools that were used 100 times, it won't stand out. It will just feed another, I don't know, AI engine, and and this vicious circle won't stop. Just you don't have to do you don't have to do something totally different. We both know that at this
yeah, yeah,
stage, when everything is we can say that most of the stuff is already written,
yeah,
imagined,
yeah,
and created. So it's our I can say that it's our mission to mix it in the way that will uh, mix it to mix it in weird way, in different way. That's the goal, to do something else, because as much as I like classic fantasy, I wouldn't be able to read another, I don't know, Dragonlance book. I tried to read. I tried to read the classic Dragonlance series. This with dragons in titles, by Tracy Hickman. It was Dragon of something and Dragon of something, and with dragons and periods of year. Um, Tracy Hick. I Dragonlance.
and what happened? You
Dragon,
didn't like it?
yeah, Dragons of Autumn, Twilight, etc.,
Oh yeah,
etc. I tried to read it and didn't manage. As much as I love classic fantasy, as much as I love role-playing games, tie-ins, books, uh,
no,
I think that there was nothing weird in it, nothing different. It was cliche after cliche after cliche, and uh, even me, who is not who I don't, I don't look anything. I don't read ambitious books. Um, I didn't find anything interesting there. And
I see.
on the
Yeah,
other hand, I like I need to look at my shelf. uh, on the
I
other
mean
hand,
to be
let's take, I
fair.
don't know.
uh,
Yeah.
Dragon Autumn is another book, right? It's maybe it helped form the cliches it is in there, right? Isn't Dragons of Autumn somewhere in the 80s or something,
Yeah, it is
or no?
84. But I didn't,
Yeah,
I was very happy. I was very happy to have these books because I've had all four. But I didn't manage. I tried twice or three times.
yeah,
But for example, let's take Ravencroft. When you already have some mix, you let's add Dracula to the picture, or let's take Dark Sun. Let's take
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
add some
yeah,
more sand.
yeah, yeah.
Change,
I
just
mean,
change.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
let's change the decoration. Let's change the described races a bit.
yeah,
Maybe suggest that this is post-apocalyptic, because it is. Dark Sun
yeah,
is
yeah,
post-apocalypse, and it's already different. And I already it's more it's better for me then. Just
yeah, for sure.
it's enough to add one or two elements.
Yeah, although Dark Sun does it with basically everything, right? Elves are different. Everything is different. Elves, dwarves, halflings. We have insect people. The world is a desert. Magic destroy things. No gods. No clerics. And yeah, Dark Sun takes the weird to, I think, almost everything, right? And for me, it's my favorite classic setting of D&D, like a classic second edition before
Mhm.
the Wizards of the Coast. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's and similar example is Shadowrun. I like Shadowrun more
yeah,
than Cyberpunk, because we have something weird in it, because someone added, dwarves and elves to this
yeah,
Cyberpunk, virtual reality, Blade Runner, setting, and and then it's working for me, because
yeah. It's
Cyberpunk
unique.
alone, it's I'm maybe it's also because I'm tired of Cyberpunk, because it was
It's
everywhere,
too,
and
yeah,
for
yeah,
for a while.
and it's too similar to reality now, so it's not as
Yes,
fun anymore. Yeah,
unfortunately, yes, we don't have flying cars, but we have like a
yeah.
lot
The
of
the
other
bad stuff is
problems.
all here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The cool stuff we don't have. We just have like the bad stuff. Lukasz, do you have any kind of weird ritual for you when you start creating, start making art? Anything that helps you get into the moods of working in your art? Maybe music
uh,
or any invocation of the muse or anything like this?
No, the only, I think that the weird ritual is my devotion to the book. I don't know how to call it, and again I need to check the dictionary.
Mhm.
Uh, my only this the weird the thing that can be the one thing that can be schedule or paper, like I have this book, like this paper schedule for every year since
Mm.
2010, I think. Now it's 2023, and I have this calendar schedule with, every day is a separate page, and I like to
Awesome.
plan everything. It doesn't mean that I do it, but it's
Oh,
really
but it
hard to work
helps.
without
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And I mean, it's really hard to work without it, like in sight. That's the one I think weird ritual, because I don't use any kind of planning, time managing software besides Pomodoro. So 25 minutes of work, 5 or 10 minutes of break, which is
yeah.
usually like 25 minutes of work and 20 minutes of break, because my focus span is very fucked up, especially nowadays. It's hard to concentrate, uh, and
And
another,
what
I
do you
think
do
that,
for play? What do you
once
do for
again,
play? What do you do for play? Like you do 25 minutes of work. What do you usually do to reward yourself, because that's the Pomodoro technique, right? You do
Yeah.
25 minutes of work, you reward yourself with something. Or do you have
Yeah,
anything that you do
and then
particular?
5 minutes or 10 minutes of fucking around. I'm sorry. Can I swear? And like,
Yeah, of course. Fuck yeah.
okay. So it's 25. It's 25 minutes of work, and then usually sometimes spent with social media. Unfortunately, because there
Oh
is too
yeah,
much social
that's
media,
not
and
play. Yeah,
we are all
yeah,
connected, and that's the
yeah,
problem. Mm,
yeah. Well,
like
it's good and bad, right? I wouldn't know
yeah,
you
okay,
if it
but
wasn't for social media. But
it's
it's
then
not
it's
play. It's
wasting
not good
time.
for you. Yeah, yeah. It's not good.
Yeah, maybe
Not good for
some.
your mental health too. You know.
It's 25 minutes of work, and some time of doing, yeah, as I
Yeah,
said, fucking around, and doing,
yeah, yeah,
I don't know, whatever will come. I don't have any meditation techniques or anything like
yeah.
that. And I think that the other weird thing about me might be weird for some people who don't know any artists or creators in real life, is that people imagine artists as some hippie types in sandals, which I'm not. And I
There are
didn't
some.
finish any art school. I didn't finish any art school. Uh, to clarify, of course, I don't look dangerous or
Yeah,
something like a goon. But I don't certainly don't look as some people would imagine artists. So that's the
yeah.
it might be weird, but it doesn't have a lot to do with a process. I
For
try
me,
to
you look like someone that do the art that you do. I mean, artists, you don't have a suit, but like you wear like you have a sport jacket there, you have some comics, t-shirt, you know. You are, for me, you're dressed like an artist, you know. For artists
uh,
know artists dress like this, and but yeah, uh,
okay. So
right?
the thing that really helps, and I can advise, and this is advice for every, I think that I can say it as advice for every beginner, someone who wants to, make art for a living, is to work in certain, hours, to have some kind of hygiene of work. Like, I like to start my work day at the morning and finish, like, I like to work 8 till 4 or 5 p.m. It's very healthy. I do not work during night. I can't. I grew up from it. I think that hygiene of work is more important than so-called work ethic, which often people who talk a lot about work ethic are often, they often mean that you should work, 24/7, all the time, and then you will have,
Yeah,
and then this is work ethic, that you should,
yeah,
kill yourself for that you should die for
yeah,
some kind of boss or whatever. Uh, so that's the thing I like. I like to start my work at the morning,
yeah,
and finish, and go to home, eat, like live like every working man. That's why I consider myself as a working class artist, or working class comics creator, or whatever, because I don't earn that much to consider myself as middle class, and I don't even have a target like that. That
yeah,
I want to have house, or 2 cars, or swimming pool. Just, I want to work, make decent living from my work.
yeah, yeah. And something you said about class and working class artists. I mean, for me, we are. I learned something recently about this, like upper class, lower class, middle class. That's all bullshit. They're just two class: the working class and the one owners of the capital, who has the land, who has the machines. Like everybody has a, even like a high paying job. If they close everything, you don't have anything. Like you don't own anything. You just have this paper that someone says you that is worth something, and anytime it can be worth nothing. So yeah, that's like, I'm upper class. You're fucking nothing. You're like just working like everybody else. I don't know. And and that thing you said about the hours hygiene, I think it's very important, and I think everybody will find your own. I do work at night because I do my day job at morning, and I spend time with my family in the morning, in the afternoon. I do some stuff. I think what's important is finding balance. You don't wanna live for work. You work to live, right? It's
Yes, but
different
you
things.
you are you are working during day and create during night. You or do you consider your or do you consider like or do you or do you see it as like work
I
after
don't
work?
work during I don't work during all day. I usually manage to finish my day job during the morning. So in the afternoon I can do I can spend time with the family, and in the morning sometimes if I finish early I can spend with my kids. Sometimes I do have to go to like to the actual day job and stay there. uh, but I usually don't spend all day like working on something. I have time to relax and even exercise or even meditate, or you know go to lunch with my wife somewhere, or just cook at home. I do have leisure time, uh,
Hmm.
but the time to create is usually I prefer to be when everybody is asleep, and I can just concentrate on that. Because if I try to, even if I'm not working and families at house, kids at house, and I try to work, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
So
it won't work because when I was a young father, when Helena, my daughter, was born, uh, I was trying to work at home. I didn't have the place to work. I didn't have studio outside,
oh yeah, I was
and
asking
it
about the
was
studio.
like
Yeah.
yeah, it was it was very hard to concentrate to do anything. Then I found then I started to then I started cooperation with my local library. They gave me a room. They gave me a room for a studio, and in exchange, I did comics. I organized comics festival for them, and I did workshops. This
Awesome.
cooperation came to end this year, and I am in studio till February 2024, and then I will try to find. I won't look for a new studio outside home. There will be change of apartments. Now we are living at two rooms flat, and we will change probably, possibly, hopefully we will change our apartment for a bigger one. And I want to come back home with my work. I am aware that it will be hard uh, at the start, but now my daughter is older. She is going to
How
school.
old is she?
She's
Yeah.
8 years old. She knows that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to
Mine
concentrate,
too.
and
Yeah. Mine.
and
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
and I want to be back home with work also because of the costs. Never
Yeah.
mind. You can pay for your studio. You can have a barter. You can work for this. For like I did work for library, like this comics festival. But it's always something. So working from home will be much cheaper, uh, but also it's very important to have a room dedicated to work, like separate room, even small one, even some kind of closet, basement, whatever, that you can be, close the door behind you and concentrate on work. And if I will have such place, I think I will be okay. Without it,
Yeah.
uh, last two almost 2 months, 6 weeks after my wife broke her leg in August this year, in
Mm.
September, sorry, I spent 6 weeks in home and I was trying to work, uh, taking care of my wife, of my daughter, and I'm like, I think I'm easily 3 or 4 weeks behind every schedule possible, with almost every project possible. But also, and if my clients and people who I work with are listening, thank you for your
Yeah.
patience.
Yeah.
It's very helpful that I work with good people, not that kind of
Yeah.
client that will be pain in the ass, because I'm really really behind the schedule and people are really really patient.
Well, I mean, you said we're working a lot of tabletop RPG people and gaming, a lot of indie creators, I would assume, and because of that, I would assume they all go through something like this. Like, I went through something like this in like the beginning of the year, life changing, kids changing school, and crisis. Like every day, we're dealing with mental health issues, and I wasn't able to do anything, and I even thought I would never write a game again, and I think artists, most of them go through periods like that from time to time. Because I also think that's natural because we are humans, we're animals, we are not able to like produce at an output ever increasing output every day. That's why the balance you seek at working day is so important, like to persevere, to take care of yourself, because sometimes we do so much and we burn out, right? And we have to rest. So since we all most of us go through this, they are more able to understand, like, right?
I have a lot of mental issues, like mental health problems, and it's constant. I have I have depression. I have neurosis. It's and but one thing that can one thing that helps. It's like we are talking about this now. Uh, it's nothing to
Yeah.
be. It might be something that you can be afraid of it because it's natural, but it's nothing that you should be ashamed of. That's for sure. And sometimes people, my relatives, my friends, some people that I didn't see or for a long time, they are surprised that I that I am talking about it in some such open way, that I have that I have such and such problem, that I am I have this and this sickness. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's it's changing. So
Yeah.
while generation of our parents didn't talk about it, so they used to drunk, get drunk, and that
Yeah.
was the only cure. We are
Pretend it
talking about
isn't
it, and
there.
that's not a this is a problem, but it's not a secret anymore.
Yeah.
uh, we have I have this times of doubt, at least once or twice in a month, especially when we are talking about comics. It's very while I love comics, and I love comics, and I will love them forever. I used to say that I used to say comics are death. That if I won't be able to create comics, I will probably die, or kill myself or
Wow.
whatever. But I'm not that sure anymore, and I don't care that
Good.
much anymore. It's not like not doing comics for a living. It's not a such big problem for me now at the moment, because I still do what I like to do. I'm happy, I'm happy to create for tabletop games. This is also kind of my old hobby, old passion that that came back after the decades of not doing anything with it. But yeah, comics are harder as comics as the form of art are great. Comics in general are awesome, but the industry and sometimes the scene is so it's a hard pill to swallow often. So
No, no.
so I am happy that I do, that now I do various stuff for various
Yeah,
for different
I
clients, and
understand.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
That's why you came, to the healthy and welcoming and full of positivity, scene of indie tabletop role playing games,
it's
right?
it is it's of course it's not like that, but there is a big
Yeah, I mean, it's a
the
it's a joke.
difference is,
I'm just
but
joking. Yeah.
but here is the difference. I came to RPG scene, or in general independent tabletop game scene,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, like few years ago, at the beginning of more or less at the beginning of COVID, at the beginning of the whole of pandemic. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like 3 or 4 years
right?
ago. Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 years ago. So I don't want to use word established, but I was already I already did a lot of comics
Yeah, I
as a work
remember.
for hire. I've had a lot of experience back then, and I was able, being like 36, 37 years old and having this comics experience, I was able to create my contacts to um, to control my contacts, to control the stuff I'm doing. Yes, I knew
Yeah.
exactly what I want to do from the beginning. That's why I didn't have such problems as people ghosting me, such problems as some, you know cooperation with, I don't know, some far right, I don't, shitheads.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I I was
Stuff that
able to
happens, yeah.
avoid to not make too as many mistakes and as I did as a comics creator like 6 or 7 years before. And
Yeah.
the other thing is that if you will do comics, if you will do, for example, 24 pages of detailed art, sequential art, for hire, and you will manage, and it will be published, you can draw absolutely everything. You can do
That's true.
really,
Yeah.
you can do
Yeah.
everything with few hundred pages already drawn across, like, 5 or 6 years. I was able, I show it to some people, and I was able to get some work, to cooperate with some people, and I was able to do everything from dinosaurs in space to dark fantasy,
Yes.
to Mork Borg dark fantasy, to wargaming. Now I did Puke Apocalypse, like the art for upcoming skirmish game about uh, vomiting gangs. So you can it was it that's the difference. I am totally aware that independent or not independent at all, the tabletop gaming industry, RPG, wargaming, whatever, is not healthy at all. uh, but I
Well,
was
there's
older,
some
I
good
was wiser,
people. Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
wiser. And
Yeah.
also one thing, we thought that mm, social media can work for our advantage. And at the beginning
Sometimes.
of pandemic, I started to switch from Facebook to Twitter. Some people will say that it's like, it's like changing AIDS for a cancer, or or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
but uh, Twitter is a lot different animal. So I was, I learned
Yeah.
somehow. I learned how to use it, and it is helpful when you want to know who do you don't want to work with,
Yeah.
as some kind of compass that you want to avoid such and such people. Facebook wasn't so easy in to navigate, overblown, too much functions,
Yeah.
etc. Twitter
Yeah.
was not. So I was able to navigate, and it helped me a lot. It also uh, helped me to curate my contacts in comics. So yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not healthy. Uh,
Mhm.
any creative, there is not such thing like
Yeah.
like healthy creative industry. Not a chance.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's
but
nothing
you
like
can
healthy
create.
humanity. We're like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
species
We are
is
not.
doomed. Yeah. Yeah.
Humanity is not.
We're not
Humanity is
great.
not healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not great. We're not that great. But I mean, we can find our people, find, like-minded people and stick together. I think that's the secret. Uh, Lucas, do you do you think you have any particular place? You talk about the 80s, so that's I was going to confirm you. Do you think there's any particular place or epoch or media uh, that you draw a lot from for inspiration? You said the 80s, so you would
Oh,
say that, or particular comics, or a
yeah.
set of movies, or even an artist?
It's always talking about inspirations is always it is a different way to list your top 5, top
Yeah,
10, or top
yeah,
15.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Like currently, what are things that you're mostly
yeah, but
being inspired by? Yeah,
currently I need to, you know what? I need to just look at the shelf. I'm sorry. I read a lot of stuff, different stuff. Mm, books are somehow. Um, One moment. I need to find a good word.
yeah.
Uh, this is a short lesson of Polish for you. Wyjątek, uh, exception. So books are
Ah,
exception for me. I don't read nowadays. I don't read too many different books. I mostly read role-playing tie-ins, like Warhammer or wargaming tie-ins,
yeah.
as I said before, Warhammer, Ravencroft, Warhammer 40k. I need to look. I'm buying old second-hand editions of Warhammer. I read Dark Future now anthology, Road 666. Very very nice thing. But when we talk about comics, for example, I read a lot of different stuff because I read manga. I read with my daughter. I read Yotsuba. This is a manga for family manga about a small girl. Uh, I read European comics. I read comics from all over the world if they are good. That's the thing. The comics are good or
Yeah,
not, or to say it more diplomatically, comics are the ones that I like or I don't like. Like this is the only difference. And my main influences, mm, as I mentioned before, is it will be Jack Kirby for sure because I always read something of done by Jack Kirby
yeah,
because he's had so big output that I will never read everything created by him. Uh, the manga I collect for myself is the Feast of the North Star. I buy every new volume, and it is a huge inspiration for me. The gore, the muscles, everything there is very inspiring. Uh, hmm. I'm
That
looking
sounds
at the
good.
shelves,
Yeah,
and there is
yeah,
so
right.
much shit there, that
Yeah,
stuff. I recently I've read some very inspiring and good, not well known Marvel UK comics. It was Marvel imprint in 90s, because I'm writing a script. I'm writing a comic book script, some kind of tribute to 90s, uh, early middle 90s. And besides well-known Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Image Comics like Todd McFarlane, besides this well-known, the most popular artists, there was also many comics that were also popular, but they are kind of obscure now, forgotten. And Marvel UK is a great example. Death's Head, people from writers and artists from 2000 AD doing stuff for Marvel. I've read some Wolverine. I can talk like hours about it, but it's long story short. It's a
yeah,
very different, lot of very different comics, RPG tie-ins, and I recently don't watch too much streaming or TV. Uh, don't know why. Didn't watch anything very interesting in a long time.
yeah. Well, comics is where your passion is, so I think that's very natural. Do you have any interesting like comic strips? Like Calvin and Hobbes, or comic stuff for funny comics, or
I'm
no?
sorry. Once again.
Are you interested in comic strips? Like Calvin and Hobbes, or Hobbes.
Oh
I don't know how they
yes,
say. Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes. Uh, Calvin and Hobbes is one of my daughter's favorite, and mine as well. I think that Calvin and Hobbes is the best newspaper format, the best comic strip ever, and
Yes. Yes.
all the stuff that came uh, later after Calvin and Hobbes is just faraway echo of Calvin and Hobbes, because we read different books based, comic strips with Helena. And even my 8 years old daughter sees that it's like Calvin and Hobbes knockoff. So we have Calvin and Hobbes, we have Peanuts, Garfield,
Do you know by
and
any chance a character called Mafalda, which is a very
yeah, we know
famous?
Mafalda.
Oh yeah! Wow,
Yeah, we
great.
know Mafalda. Unfortunately, it's not the type of it's not the
Yeah,
type of comic book that I can read with my daughter, because there are
yeah, very political. Yeah,
too many topics. I don't want to say that I don't want to read it with my daughter because it's political. Not at all. I don't read it with my
it's not the
daughter because
time.
it is
Yeah,
about 70s or 60s
yeah,
politics in South America. So I don't understand this stuff.
yeah.
And my
So
daughter wouldn't
for us,
understand it
it is
as well.
still very relevant until today. It's still very relevant for
Yeah,
us.
this is that makes good comic strip if it's
Yeah,
relevant forever, and good
it's yeah.
lyrics, like good song
Me,
lyrics, will
yeah,
you will remember, like if you will
yeah,
listen to a good band, like good lyrics means that 40 years after it was
yeah,
recorded you can listen to it and don't cringe.
yeah. And but I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing that Mafalda is still relevant because it's about how
No,
bad stuff is here.
it's not
But
good thing.
it's yeah, it's very good comics. But I'm glad to see that something from South America, from Argentina, reached Europe or Poland, and you have it there.
It's
So
it
people can
has
see a little bit of our reality here.
Yeah, it
Somehow.
has Polish. I've had I borrowed Polish edition from library, and it was like very thick
Yeah.
book. Unfortunately, with I think with Comic Sans used in speech balloons, but it's
Yeah.
not that bad. I will sound like kind of heretic, but I used to cringe when I saw Comic Sans used in Mafalda, also used in Polish edition of Peanuts.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
overused, so it's
at first, no,
yeah.
but it shouldn't be used in comics when you have so many. Yeah, it's overused and it's bad. The general
Yeah.
consensus it's that it's a bad font. However, if you will
Yeah.
get used to it, it's not that it's not about font when you read Peanuts with your daughter. It's
Yeah.
not like, look,
That's true.
kid, they have Comic Sans. We don't read this
Yeah.
comic. Not at all. So
Yeah.
yeah, I read a lot. To sum up the thing, this question, I read a lot of very different stuff. I don't read too much slice of life, biography, autobiography comics, and the stuff which is nearest slice of life. These are comic strips like Garfield
Yeah.
and Calvin and Hobbes and newer stuff, etc. I also recently bought few Gary Larson collections of are you do you know Gary Larson?
No. I mean, not by
Far
name. Maybe
Side.
I see something, but oh, Far Sight.
Wait,
Okay.
Far Side, yeah.
Yeah.
So I bought few books with a few Far Side books, and this is also good stuff. And most of this kind of humor doesn't it doesn't get old, especially for people in our age. When in our case, we do know how, for example, telephone looked like 30 years ago, because younger audience can be like they start they by by seeing drawing of telephone booth or something.
Yeah. Uh, Lucas, are you working on on a project recently that you want to talk a little bit about and share with us some of the weird things you have been creating?
uh,
Or can you share if it's not on
I need
NDA or
to
anything?
I can share some information, of course. First of all, now at the moment, I'm trying to work on next episode, next pages of To Hell and Galgenback. We
Mm.
started in March this year, if I remember correctly. This is webcomic official Mork Borg, official webcomic of Mork Borg. Uh, we started in March, but then in middle of summer I've had cataract surgery. Then my wife broke her leg. It was like streak of bad luck. So I'm quite behind the schedule with this one, but I'm trying to get back on track. And with comics, it's not that easy because I need to do like 30 pages or so, written and drawn by me. Uh, so some pages are already finished. I need to do more to have pages finished in advance, because we will be able to publish them week after week online, because this comic
Yeah.
book is or web comic is available for free at tohellandgalgenback.com. So that's the main thing, and that's the one that's the only big comics project that I work on. I have some smaller comics stuff. I also draw. I also work on, as you know, I also work on Kosmosaurs Games Master Screen for
Yeah.
French edition of of game that you wrote, and I think it will be the French edition of Cosmosaurs should be released at February, something about February, and I finished work on Puke Apocalypse, mentioned before. It is skirmish game about vomiting gangs, focused on vomiting and kid bashing. It will be. I don't know when exactly it will be released. It is written by Glenn Ford, co-author of Gaslands, and it will be
Mm.
published by Exalted Funeral, probably in during next year. Uh, we have some plans about with Nerd Sirens. We have some plans about. Finally, we have some plans about Cosmosaurs Polish edition. It's a fresh thing
Yay.
because we discussed we discussed it yesterday, and I even didn't have time to inform you properly, like via
Yeah.
email, that we already have some
Yeah.
plan.
Relax. Yeah. We,
So
we, we can talk about it, and I have good news for you. Might have other stuff you might want to publish too. So yeah.
uh, and we have, what else? I'm looking at my wall and at my calendar. Uh,
Yeah, your
yeah,
paper,
that's
calendar stuff. Yeah.
yeah, my paper book. But what the most important thing is to Hell. I think that the most important thing now is To Hell and Galgenback,
Yeah.
uh, and a bunch of smaller projects. It's always like there is always someone who is asking for a T-shirt design,
Yeah.
for one or two illustrations for the book. Or something, something smaller, so it's not like
Yeah.
you want to do a big announcements about the big announcements about one illustration. I'm going to what is also important, I'm going to
You have a
launch
Patreon too,
coffee.
right? So do you still have the
Yeah, I
Patreon?
don't. No,
Yeah.
no, I don't have
Oh no.
Patreon. But don't have Patreon. I don't have Patreon. I used to have. I still have Patronite, which is
Oh yeah.
what is the difference? The difference is Patronite is kind of Polish Patreon knockoff. It is
Oh
dedicated
yeah.
to Polish users. It is not international platform. That's why after
I see.
five years or so. That's why after 5 years or so, I'm finishing Patronite, closing it, and I'm going to launch probably coffee next year, because from what I see there, it gives a lot more options than Patreon. It is more helpful and just better, because you as a reader, a customer, will be able to support me by a tip, giving me a tip, buying something there, like digital comic book, or
Nice.
uh,
Mm.
or support me as on Patreon by by some amount of money
Yeah.
paid regularly. So
Mm.
more, so you can do more there, and we will see. I would like to, if there will be enough support, I would like to do a web comic or comic book, like a page per week or something like that, on coffee,
That
like
would be
for
great. Yeah.
people who will
Yeah.
support me. Yeah, and then maybe do a printed collection or whatever. But coffee
Yes. And you
might be.
can sell there. Yeah.
Yeah, but and coffee, this kind of crowdfunding, not for a project, but like long term
Yeah.
crowdfunding, might help me to stay in comics, because I don't have no more delusions about working for a bigger publisher like from United States or
Yeah.
so-called Western Europe. I don't have any, I don't have, I lost any, delusions after years of trying. I don't give a fuck. So so i
Yeah.
will
I
i
see.
will launch coffee, and I will publish, finally, I will publish Polish editions of few comic books that I did as a work for hire, and they were published in UK, in United States, and Polish readers didn't have occasion to read them in Polish. And the thing is that it won't be a huge project, because we'll do like 150, maybe 200 copies per title, because that's the number that will, that will
Yeah.
work more. If i will if i will print more, I will finish, I will have full closet of
Yeah.
comics
Yeah.
that I don't need. That's the
Yeah.
that's the thing. So there is a lot of plans for 2024. I really want to do more wargaming related art and wargaming related stuff, and there is already idea how to do it, but I can't say more. We'll see in January, maybe February. And so uh, we, as you know, we need to stay in. I don't want to say business, because it's hard to call it business, but to stay in this, to stay alive. Uh, we need to be active, like to search for occasions, to think about projects that can be,
Yeah.
that we can monetize. Uh, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to monetize everything I do. Like, I don't want to monetize my every passion or hobby.
Yeah.
Uh, but somehow it happens often. It's like I'm
Yeah.
going home today and I will read, I don't know, I will read another Warhammer book, or will read. Recently, I bought some very cheap D&D adventures, like just to have with maps and stuff. I will read
Yeah.
it, and probably it's stronger than me. I will think about, what I can do in next into Hell and Galgenback. This is,
Yeah.
unfortunately, this is a curse for creators like us.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it can be a curse if you're always thinking about how to monetize, how to make that money.
Hmm.
But I mean, if you're always thinking
Yeah,
about
you're
how
right.
that can be incorporated into your art, in your passion, in something, because art is nothing else than your expression. Like you're giving. I love this saying that this I always say his name. There isn't an episode I don't say his name, so I'm saying it now. So Pete Holmes, this comedian that I'm inspired by, that says that art is how artists go out there, experience reality, and go back home and report to the rest of us how reality is for them. So that's how you express, how do you see things, and it's natural. I think every artist does this. We have an experience, and I'm completely, being there the moments and in the park with my son, like in a forest, but we see something and I feel something and immediately think, oh, I can use this sensation, this thing that I saw in a scene in Primal Quest, or how I describe something, right? That's what you do, or you're thinking, oh, I can make money. But I
No,
think
it's
how I can
it's
use in my art, right?
yeah, it's a good point. But yeah, you are
It's
right.
hard to balance too. It's
It's
hard to balance too,
period.
because
Period.
yeah.
You are right. You are right. Maybe, yeah.
But I know it's hard to balance too, because sometimes we wanna stay there in the moment, and sometimes we get carried away, and we're not there with the people we wanna be there anymore. We start thinking. I know, because I do that. I start to think about my game, things I wanna do, things I wanna write, and instead of being there, like spending time with the people I love, and I am there to spend. I'm thinking about my game. So
Yes, you are
it's
there, but
it's
you are there, but you aren't, and that's the
yeah,
problem. I see it with
yeah,
that's also this is also work hygiene, like, but
Yeah.
you are not able, that's the problem, you are not able to switch off your brain, that part of your
Yeah.
brain that still goes weird, that still
Yeah.
goes like, what I could, draw in that panel, maybe this will be good for, or I will play I will play with, you are playing, like I'm playing board game with my wife and my daughter, simple dungeon crawler, because of course I bought
Yeah.
simple dungeon crawler, because why not?
Why
So
not?
we
Of
play
course.
so we play these games. It is this game, it is really really enjoyable. It's called Karak. uh, and
Hmm.
this part of brain, switched, it's switched on, and you are, and I'm started to think that it can be used in some scene or something. It's hard to I agree, it's hard to
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah. One thing helps me is always having my notebook. I actually use my cell phone, the OneNote app. So if I'm there and starting having these ideas, I say, okay, I have to stop right now. I'll take a note because I can put that on paper or on something and I can let it go. Because if I don't stop and say, oh, I have to remember this, I will keep thinking about this the whole day. So I have to stop, make a note, and then I can let go. I don't know if that's I don't know if you want to try that and help, but that really helps
Yeah,
me because
I should do something like that, but
yeah,
I try to avoid. I think that paper notebook would be better in my case, because
yeah,
taking phone. I we are
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we are at the stage of being
yeah, yeah.
phone
I take
holics.
notes on paper too. Yeah, yeah. All
Yeah,
notes. Yeah,
but I've read about phone holism,
yeah,
some time ago, and I have all the symptoms, almost all of the symptoms, and I can say that I'm phoneaholic, because I use
yeah,
it all the time, and
yeah,
need to do something with it. So yeah, so
yeah,
small paper notebook
yeah.
would be a lot
There's
better, and I need
small
to.
small
Yeah,
notebooks
really
you can
small.
put in your
Yes,
pocket and yeah,
exactly. Yep.
yeah. uh, Lucas, what did you Lucas? What did you say was like the weirdest comic you ever made or wrote or like I always ask about games here, but since you're like a comic guy, I want to ask you like the weirdest
The
comic thing
weirdest
you ever
comic
made.
book, I did. Oh man,
Or anything
I did.
recently that catches your eye
I
that
did.
you're really proud of making this completely weird
I'm
and cool.
proud about. I'm proud about most of collected stuff. Published as in books, or in booklets. I'm proud of it, and I will defend it with all my strength. Uh, I am not too proud of the period of time when I was trying to be kind of, when I was trying to do kind of fast drawn commentary, like editorial cartoons on Facebook,
Yeah,
because I thought that I will find more, um, find bigger public this way, and some of these jokes weren't funny, and they didn't age well. But I'm still thinking about strangest comic book I did, weirdest. Uh, the weirdest comic book. It's a paradox, because I think that the weirdest comic book in my portfolio was the comic book which I did in my zine, called the zine was called I Hate People, Nienawidzę ludzi, and it had I did 5 issues, and there was a story in every issue. There was a story inspired by Goodfellas, Sopranos, and stuff like that, like real world like story done in real world, but with grotesque, drawn in grotesque style. But anyway, it was no mutants, no lasers, no slime, no wrestling, just gangsters and they shenanigans, or troubles and adventures. But it was as in my case, it was quite realistic. So that is paradox, that the most weird thing I did is this comic book that was like
Yeah.
episodes straight from Sopranos, or some kind of Goodfellas stuff. I did a lot of comics, so it's uh, it's hard to. I think that this one is quite, it's the weirdest one as for me, because I usually do weird stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds really cool. I want to see this. Is this available for people to see
No,
anywhere?
it was only in Polish. It was only in
Okay.
Polish. The style is
Yeah, you said it's
quite
different.
crude, because it is already 10, or even like 10 or 12 years old, because it was done a lot of, I was learning back then
Yeah,
how to do a lot of stuff. However, if I would like to do it in English, I would need to redraw it like completely, which is kind of idea that is somewhere
yeah,
behind my head. But
yeah. I
they
know.
would need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
have,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they would need to have like 36, 48 hours, and then I would be able. However, yeah, this was that's the weirdest thing. I even used these characters from this comic, because it was they were named Pete and Paul. The title was, one moment. The title of this comic book was even, I took it from Goodfellas. I just need to uh, orcs. The title was "There Must Have Been Dozen Peters and Pauls There." Yeah, it was a quote from Godfellas. I even used these characters when I did a comic strip for Vice, uh, and that's it. That's the weirdest thing I did.
Cool. Yeah. Well, it sounds very weird, and I would like to see it, and I know that feeling. Like I wanna remake that and make it better. And I have this feeling for all my like initial games, and it's hard because we also want to do new stuff, right? And how do you decide about the stuff you're gonna work on? Uh, because you probably have lots of ideas and projects you want to work on, or
The first thing how I choose my projects.
yeah. Well, how do you
The
choose what you're
first
gonna work
thing
on? Like,
is,
yeah, sorry.
how do I choose? The first is work for work for hire. If it's work for hire, it comes first. It should come first, because that's how I feed my family. Uh, it doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes I do something for free. Sometimes I do something for free, like I don't care about schedule. I just want to do it. I want to draw something to show my to show it to world, and it's usually something that I do for a project that is not non-profit. Like I see, like in a 2 or 3 weeks, you will be able to see one of such creations. I did a series of covers for free non-profit zine, online magazine. Uh,
Nice.
But usually work for hire comes first, and I don't have and sometimes I don't do certain project when conditions are not, are not right for me. Then I do something else. And it's like that for years, and honestly I don't have time to do stuff that is completely mine, and it's not that is completely for me, like 100 it is
Nice. I see. Yeah.
100%. Like I don't do comics or drawings that are completely like for me without any kind of money involved, because I don't have time for it. Last time I did something like that, it was a gift for my daughter. And
That's great.
that's basically all. When I usually do something, I like when it has some kind of purpose, when it will be when it will be displayed somewhere, when I will have even this word we uh, even this word which we all hate, even exposure is when exposure is involved, always it's always about money or always about exposure. But at this stage I need to I need to say it, all of these projects are projects that I want to do, that I'm not forced to do, because people who ask me to draw for them, to create something for them. They know my capabilities. They know what I can do. They know my style. Uh, no one will ask me for, I don't know, realistic World War II illustrations
Yeah.
of, like military stuff. I don't know, tank for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to draw something like that one day. Uh, but yeah, it's work for hire comes first, and it's always something involved in stuff I create. Always, the best situation is when I do something that I have that is creatively mine, and I get paid for it. Like To Hell and Galgenback is written and drawn by me. I have great editor Walton Wood, and also I hope. Sorry if I will, Johan. Sorry if I will, butcher your surname, but
Name.
and name.
No. No. Yeah.
Johan is also very helpful and
Yeah.
patient. Before all,
Yes.
but in general, To Hell and Galgenback is kind of mind project. Yeah, the
Yes.
characters,
Yes.
everything. There is no pressure like you need to involve this and this monster on this page, or you need
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
draw this place. Yes, I am
Yeah.
writing, I am creating the new places, the new characters that maybe one day will be used in some book or adventure or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the best situation I can have. This is work for hire, but also I do something that is mine. It's like with Atomax. Atomax was a short-lived comic, because I did like 11 pages or so. It is available at my website at lukaszkowalczuk.com. Uh, friend of mine hired me to do a comic book, a comic that will be used, that will be published via a new comic book app. So I've got paid to do creator-owned comic book, totally in my style, uh, with involvement of editor, but like mostly it was mostly about grammar and because English is not my language.
Yeah.
So this was the perfect situation. You are doing your stuff and you are being paid for it. I
Yeah, it's
don't know
great. Yeah.
better, but I don't
Yeah.
know better one. So
Yeah.
as long as I have work like this, I'm happy. And
Yeah.
even if nowadays, even if I do this games master screen for Cosmosaurs, uh, there are some remarks like, can you draw something like this, can you draw
Yeah, like I
something
did for the
different
space
or
thing.
something.
Yeah.
We discuss everything, but imagine to have, like, it is a dream work for me. I do not I think that I do not cherish it uh, as often as I should, because there
We,
are,
we all don't.
millions.
Yeah.
We all don't, and that's also
Yeah.
our problem, because there
Yes.
are millions of people, hundreds of millions of people that hate their work, that don't do what they would like to, and to be honest, sometimes we are like this. To be very brutal, we are like these whiny bitches. Like, we seek a
Yeah.
lot of problems, and yeah, it is like, it is sometimes it is like that. Of
It
course, it
is.
has
It is.
a lot to do with our mental health, with the troubled
Yes.
times that we live in. But just like, stop, take a breath, like deep one,
Yeah.
and think like, look, I am discussing, the last email
Yeah.
from my client was about, can you draw a different villain in the background? No, I can't, because I like this one. He's such and such, and this will look better. Here I can draw this instead of that, and that's that, uh, and I don't have any problems about it. It's like this, like in other work. I used to design socks, socks for
Yeah.
kids, like with smile, small animals or whatever. And it was I was sick and tired after a year or so. First of all, I worked in open space,
Wow.
so it meant working with people who are very, it was a kind bunch. They were okay, but like, I don't they were okay, but if you are so called, like designer, and you have uh, 6 or 7 people above you, and everyone knows better, after a year or
Yeah.
so you are sick and tired. So I was sick
Yeah.
and tired, and I one day I just decided that I won't take it anymore. uh, and yeah, and we don't I think that we do not cherish our situation enough. We all see what is happening all around the world. People really have bad situations. I know that it's not a good way to compare your life to other people, but we are kind of we should be more
Grateful.
thankful, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Grateful.
we should
Yeah.
be
I
more
always say that.
thankful,
Yeah.
and I don't want to say that you need to be happy all the time. Nothing like
No.
that. You
Yeah.
need to be aware of the problems, of your problems, of the problems in the industry. Okay,
Yeah.
but we do not cherish our situation enough.
Yeah. And sometimes we forget how much we wanted to have what we have now. Like a lot of times we always like we get something, but we want something better. Like remember how we wanted to have a family and then have food and then having been independent, and now we have something, but we always want something more. We don't take enough time to celebrate what we already have. We always, wanting something new, and that's something I try to teach my kid about this. That's like, ha- almost like happy math, happy mathematics. Uh, what you how happy you are, like how much you want, how much you have, and how much you want. So, but you can't have everything. So if you can reduce the all this stuff that you always want more, if you can want a little bit less and want what you already have, you know,
Mm.
your happiness can increase this way,
Yes,
in
but
some way.
that's that. It's also. I bet that you have a lot of that you have like a shitload of games and books
Yeah.
that you have a lot of. So I
Yes.
do I do have a lot of books, comic books, games, the so-called pile of shame. Yes,
Yes.
I still want more. Uh, I'm 6 years sober. I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol. Uh, it will be a year that I don't smoke cigarettes. Uh,
Nice. Oh.
I only drink like 6 coffees per day, and that's the only problem with such thing. However, I have like I'm surrounded with books, with stuff, pop
Yeah.
culture stuff.
Yeah.
I have pile of miniatures and paints, bought that I bought year ago that I was going to paint, learn to paint,
Yeah.
etc. etc. I still need more, and I do not. And if I would stop now, and if I would like to read everything
Yeah. It's
to check
impossible. Yeah.
out everything and play everything I do have on my shelves in studio, I think that I could, I wouldn't need to work like day after day. I would just, consume the stuff I gathered. It would be like 2 years easily, or three, of just consuming the stuff that I have, that I didn't read yet, that I didn't play, and I still need more. And that's kind of that's kind of problem. Uh,
Yeah.
and the same goes with our achievements. Like I, especially when you have problems with depression, when you have problems with mental health, uh, you don't see the good stuff that you did.
You don't internalize it. Yeah.
That's usual.
Hello, weirdos. This is Diogo Nogueira, and I'm back with a word from our sponsors. Me. I just released a new game called Kosmosaurs, in which you play a dinosaur space ranger who protects the galaxy from evil threats such as slime bankers, undead pirates, and Cosmosaurs from a void dimension. It's a game with a runes light system inspired by Forged in the Dark and Lasers and Feelings. It comes with a bunch of tables for you to generate content for it. If you know my games, they're really easy to play and they have tools to help you improvise and play with low prep. It's an ideal game for one-shots, short campaigns, and introducing new people to the hobby, and it's a really perfect family game. I play with my kids all the time. It's a game inspired by Saturday morning cartoons. It's really well illustrated by Lukasz Kowalczuk from Poland, and with a great layout by Guilherme Gontijo. It's a really fun game. You should check it out on Drive-Thru RPG, itch.io, or exclusively in print on exaltedfuner.com. I have many other games there, check them out. All the links are in the show notes, so click there. And let's get back to Weird with our chat. Do you try anything to help you with that? I mean, besides medication, do you like, because I try to do the stuff too. Like I what I'm doing now is like at the end of the day, I write good three things that went my way during the day. It's not like happy moments, because then you're like trying to force. So just three things that work your way. Like oh yeah, uh, there was an excess of coffee. I got more coffee, or my wife had a meeting canceled, and we're able to have breakfast together. Just like small details to help me, as you said, being more grateful for the small things that we have. Do you do anything like this to help you remember to be more grateful for the things you have?
I don't, and it's my mistake. I should do. I don't.
Oh, we're learning. I just started doing this
Yeah,
too. Just
my wife told me about this technique. She sometimes ask me about it. Uh, but really, I don't have any. I don't have any techniques. Sometimes when I'm in work, it's hard to call it technique because it's not something that I learned or heard from anyone. I just, I just when I'm in studio, I just look around before I will start my work. When I see this place, something, the place I dreamed about when I was younger, like when I was in school, when I was reading, some magazines, some comics magazines like Wizard, and you've had pictures of artists studio in the Wizard, like they've had video games and shelves full of books and full of stuff and action figures and etc etc. I always wanted to have such place, and when I look at it, it helps. When I look at my studio, when I see that, when I realize that I am in place I always wanted to be, and I do work that I always wanted to do. That's the first thing. Spending time with family, like quality time, also helps. I think I am grumpy by nature, and I'm quite difficult to live with. So, but I'm absolutely, I absolutely know about it. So that also help. This self knowledge is very helpful because it helps you when you are going off the rails, when you are too nervous, when you are shouting, when you are screaming. It helps you a lot because it helps you to stop at some point.
yeah, yeah,
Not after 15 minutes, but after minutes or two. So
yeah.
I don't use any techniques, any learned techniques. It is more,
Well, but you developed one, and
yeah.
people actually talk about this. Yeah, yeah.
I
It's a
developed
good one.
some. I developed some, and I take meds.
Yeah.
Some, not too many. Only, it's a one pill per
Well,
day, which
it's
helps.
there's no shame in it too. Like
No,
we have to take
it is,
what you
yeah,
need, what we need too. I take
like,
two, so it's all
yeah,
good.
because
You
it
know.
is, it is for something.
Yeah,
So I'm somehow I still I'm still alive. Uh, so that's good, and I
yeah,
feel, I feel better. I the uh, the hardest thing to learn, and I'm still learning about it, is to realize that some situations, some stuff that is happening, you don't have any kind of, you can't do nothing about it.
yeah,
You don't have any kind of impact. Like,
yes,
like this cataract thing. I'm young. I'm 40. I used to say that I'm 40 years young, not 40 years old, and cataract is quite early as for my age. But I don't have any kind of. I can't do anything with it. Like
yeah,
with the fact I can do. I can go and have a surgery. I need to react, but I can't do nothing. Nothing more besides it. I needed to rest. I needed to spend some time in home. I was really nervous about it. So that's the hardest thing, to learn that you can't control everything. I think that every person is kind of control freak in one way or another. And when we and when and some people are bigger control freaks, some are smaller control freaks.
Yeah.
uh, that the generation of our parents, I think that especially in contact with kids, they were like really, and they are still control freaks. They still think that we are kids. Like even if you are 40 or 50 years old, you are still a kid, and they still would like to control your
Oh
every
yeah.
step. Yeah, what are you doing? I'm just calling like 7 a.m. telephone. It's so when I will finally realize that I don't have control over everything, when I will learn how to cope with it, I think
Yeah.
it will be a very, very big step, ahead. And now
Yes.
I'm still
Yes.
learning, but the fact that I am learning, the fact of this self knowledge is very important.
Yes. It's just beginning. You have to have this, and then you can start learning, and that's very important. And that's something I always study too. It's something that struggle and always practicing too. And something that helped me with this was reading about stoicism and then philosophy. And one of the main points of it is just about this, like what we can control and what we can't. So we can just really worry about our thoughts and actions, because everything else, like as you said, even our bodies, like as you're talking about cataract, is not up to us. We can just do the best that we can with the time that we have with this. And
Yes,
then
with the
yeah.
time and with the time and with the resources, because I don't want to say, of course,
Yeah.
we live in such troubled times that mm, I don't want to. Of course, I don't want to say that that we can't do anything with anything,
Oh
like that we
yeah,
are,
no, yeah.
uh, especially when it comes to especially and also when it comes to this such topics as politics, for example.
Yeah.
We can do something, but it's even a small thing, and we should try. We should
Yeah.
speak up. We should react. We should resist. uh yeah, that's the
But it's not up to
sometimes.
us, the results
Yeah,
not up
there
to
is a
us,
lot there. Just speak up. Just
Yeah.
like situation in Gaza today. That's the topic that people would like to sweep under the carpet. And it is very hard because I when I say that I do not cherish what I have enough, and I do not cherish my situation enough. I also speak about that because every day we see, like on live camera, acts of genocide in Gaza. For example, in Gaza, but also we have Congo, we have a lot of
Yeah.
places that such
There's a lot of places
such
happening
such
this
such
stuff.
awful things are happening, like Ukraine. It's not so far away
Yeah.
from me. It is far away enough to to live your normal life. And sometimes I feel, honestly, sometimes I feel stupid that I sit on Twitter, or now it's called X, and I post about like stupid shit, like comics industry. when when people are when people are dying, and then that's also another thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
It's
it's
hard,
hard.
but
It's
then yeah.
it's a very hard topic, and we aren't
Yeah.
in we are not able to we are not able to fix it, like as
Yeah.
individual, individual being, as me, as illustrator from Poland. I won't fix this stuff, but we can speak up. We can talk about it. We can just show some kind of support.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but there are
But at the
also
same
some.
time, we
Yeah.
can't let this stuff paralyze us, because there's
Yes, of course.
terrible
Yeah,
stuff happening everywhere,
yeah, because
so
yeah, I know, but this is like, this is very now it's now is the topic in my how to say it. In my case, this is the topic I follow most when we talk about world situation. But
yeah,
such atrocities are happening all the time, and yes, you are right. We can't let it to paralyze us, which
yeah.
uh,
Because I mean, it's terrible. It's something that terrible is happening. It's happening to a lot of innocent people because of terrible few people or screwing with a lot of innocent people, and but this happens throughout the history of humanity and keeps happening in but what happens today that we have access to so much information at the same time, so like this mental health that we all are suffering, I think it's sometimes also because we're bombarded with bad news and stuff that's happening all the time, and our species were not meant to have 24/7 news.
that's the truth. But what I was going to say is that the fact that we don't have impact on everything shouldn't make us shouldn't make us completely. um, I need to find this word.
Apathic, not doing anything.
Yes,
Is that it?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And just
Yeah, of course.
yeah, we need to
Yeah,
that's all. I uh,
yeah,
this is very difficult, uh but I say that this is difficult, but what it's I'm in
yeah,
safe
yeah, yeah,
space in
yeah,
studio.
yeah.
So
Of course,
but
it is difficult. It is.
it's not up to us to fix it. However, we
Yeah,
should do something about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It is difficult. I don't even know, how to keep up with the podcast, because now is the part that would like ask more like windscope and silly questions, and having a topic like this kind of make us feel like silly to
No, it's
talk about
I
other
can
stuff. Yeah,
I can talk about silly stuff. It's
yeah,
not a problem for me. It's just the world we
yeah.
live in. Look,
Yeah, yeah, I know.
it's
It's
just the
just like
world we live in.
the mental thing make us feel like, yeah, why, as you said, why I'm posting about comics if this stuff happens. So why am now gonna
Yeah,
ask you
I
about
see.
ghosts
It's
and
just like
aliens? You
it's
know?
24. It's the most uh, the most atrocious thing about, for example, current situation in Gaza is that one minute you see, photos or videos with dead kids,
Yeah,
and another one you see, I don't know, photos from PAX in United States,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
from gaming conventions. And staying sane in such world,
Contrast. Yeah, yeah. Contrast of worlds.
it's very hard, I think.
Yeah,
uh yeah, that's what I was going to say. But I
yeah,
am I am aware that it's not easy topic.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but can I ask you like the questions we're like supposed to
Yes,
ask
you
about
can.
the
Yes, you
topic?
can.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because the podcast it is to talk about these hard things and how we deal with that. But the silly questions are also about getting
yeah.
to
You
know a
can,
bit about
like,
you and.
you know what, this you can ask all the silly questions you want. I told about, I gave this hard example
Yeah,
and told about it because
it's
many
real.
people,
It's something that you're going through in
many
an
people will,
experience. Yeah,
many people will listen, and maybe some people won't like it, but I don't care really.
yeah.
uh,
Me neither.
I would feel bad if I would talk about mental health, talk about today's world, about
Yeah,
our environment, and wouldn't say anything about Palestine. It
yeah,
would be like, really, we don't live in a bubble. uh,
yeah,
so yeah, so you can go ahead and ask some silly questions.
yeah. And Lucas, after this and having a good talk about this, I want to ask you more personal things about experience you might have had, or anything that made you see reality in a different way, like any personal experience uh, that you maybe have a profound experience and saw, the world in a way, be it like through any kind of religious spirituality or like meditation or even like dreaming, anything like this that you experienced in a state of altered awareness?
uh, I might have when I was doing drugs. Really.
Do you want to talk about this, or do brother you we
No,
can
I can.
completely
It's not
avoid it?
like,
Yeah,
no. I if I wouldn't like to, I would say I might have some, strange experience, almost like outer world or something, when I was smoking a lot of pot. Uh, but also I am not able to remember it.
oh, okay.
So that's that.
Makes
Uh,
sense, makes
I
sense.
have, but also I have very good memory. I mean, I remember almost exactly. I remember almost exactly cartoons I watched. I mean, I remember what cartoons I used to watch when I was 6, 7, or even I can say what was this German channel I found. I was watching them. I remember my toys. I remember comics. I remember a lot of situations from my childhood, and I often dream about it, and I feel that I am surrounded by this stuff, like, still till today. Uh, but is it spiritual? It's very hard to say.
Do you have any spirituality or religion or
No,
even
no.
even philosophy?
I'm totally
Yeah.
I'm totally atheist, unreligious person, uh, and
Do you have
well,
any kind of anything that guides you through life, even
no,
philosophy
no.
or
I
no?
think that, no. I don't have anything that guides me. I don't believe in any kind of entity. I don't believe that we are that the world is created by any kind of entity. Uh, I don't have good opinion about religion. Uh, After years of living in country where the main religion,
Yeah,
where Catholics are doing a lot of stuff to show that religion is not good.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't, I'm not religious person at
Mm.
all.
Yeah.
It is, however, I find I don't think that religion is healthy, especially when we will take a look at history of humankind. Uh, However, I think that it is interesting topic. Religion, certain religions in different countries. It's quite it's quite interesting. But as a topic, as something as I can read about or watch a documentary, or go to other place and see some kind of I
Yeah,
don't know, and see see some places of cult. That's very interesting. However, I don't believe. I just don't believe.
yeah, I understand. I mean, the main reason I ask this stuff is not really about the belief in, the supernatural, the
Hmm.
gods. It's more about if you have any of the teachings, and of in my case, I'm an atheist too, and for me, what helps me is stoicism because of the teachings, the philosophies, and like the sayings. It helps me with mental health stuff. So for me, when I ask, at least in this podcast, it's more about do you have any kind of philosophy or morals or phrases that help you, as you
Oh
said, and
man.
like you have to remember to being more grateful. So that's maybe one
Uh,
thing that you have. Uh, but I agree.
yeah, I think
I
that.
see that people can have different experience, but in general, in Brazil too, like religion was always used as an instrument of repression or an instrument of power, and I have more sympathy for faith than for organized religion,
Mhm.
because the organized religion, it's something it's
Yeah, because
quite often used. Yeah, sorry.
Brazil is quite similar to Poland when it comes to religion, because you have a lot
Yeah,
of Catholics, and there is Saint Mary's cult is strong in Poland, Brazil, and Portugal. Uh,
yeah.
so that's quite it is quite similar. I don't think that I have. I don't think that I have philosophy that I would that is guiding me. As a general, uh, not list of beliefs, or I wouldn't say that it's I wouldn't say that I believe in socialism, or maybe it would be good. Maybe it would be good. Good word. I think that socialism is kind of belief, is kind of system of beliefs that I'm the most near to.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and that's it. Of course, I
Cool.
do
Yeah.
have some, some. I do have some, maybe not role models. It's hard to say, because I come
Do you
from.
have role models? Do you have
Do I have
people,
role
maybe
models?
an
I think that,
artist or someone that
you
you
know
look
what?
up
It's
to? And
Yeah, that's the another thing. Like, I have this punk background that, I was I uh, I learned that you don't need any idols. Actually, you don't need any role models. You can do most of your stuff yourself. This DIY ethic. Uh, so it is hard to have any. For me, it is hard to have any kind of role model, any kind of how to say it. One moment. Ah,
no, I know it's hard, but do you
any kind
have
of
anyone?
design, any kind of example. that I would, that I would look at and say that I will be like this. I will be like this person.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh, I think that
yeah.
Jack Kirby is the nearest person, historical person that I would call, that I can call, could call role model.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
that's fair. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, like
that's
everything, it's always that balance, right? You can admire and learn a lot from some of these individuals and artists, and I think that's very healthy. I mean, of course, I have kind of a punk background too. I played in punk rock band, and I love the Ramones. And this like we don't know how to play, but we're playing anyway, and we're gonna make something
yes.
to do yourself aesthetic and ethics, and just doing stuff with what you have right now. I love this, but I also love because if I know someone that knows something, I can learn from their work. But I also try to uh, keep it not so personal because I know people are like fallible, and if we put that those person as absolute idols, we can be very misguided from things we learn from them, and we can take stuff that we shouldn't need to take. But I think
Yes, but
it's we can learn from people and still maybe keep like a safe distance, but still admire what you know from them. Like Jack Kirby, right? Jack Kirby isn't was not perfect, right? He had some
he
problems.
wasn't perfect,
Yeah,
and yes, and I don't want to use a word idol. I hate it. I hate
yeah,
celebrities. I hate celebrities. My default my default setting is fuck Hollywood. Uh, I don't understand stuff like Swifties. I just, it's not for it's not for me. These are only, people. But the same
yeah.
goes in opposite way. I don't call people who like my work. I will never call them fans.
Fans.
I hate this word. It's just, fans, idols. If you have fans, if you say about, people like your work, your games, if you call them fans, what do you think about yourself? You are their idol.
Yeah, yeah,
So I don't use this word. Like fucking John Bon Jovi has, fans, or Aerosmith, or another shitty, stuff. Another thing is that sometimes it's better to do not know too much about, people you admire. And
yeah,
Ramones are very
for
good
sure.
example, because if you will take Johnny Ramone, he was a hard
Yeah, yeah,
pro Reagan conservative, and it has nothing to do with punk rock. If you will
yeah,
take Lee Wing from Fear, Fear is one of the greatest punk bands ever. But if you will, if you would talk with Lee Wing, if you would take a closer look at his worldview, oh man, it's like
yeah,
it might be nothing nice if you are left leaning person. So but internet does it to us. We
yeah.
know a lot about everyone, so it's
That's
better to kill your idols. Don't
yeah,
respect any celebrity, because sooner or later it might happen. That you will lose, that you will you will lose any kind of respect, and you will be
yeah,
hurt, which is not nice.
yeah. Well, we have to know that people are fine, but we can still learn. Like we can, you can still learn a lot from Johnny Ramone, and because Johnny was this jackass, we had the contrast with like Joey Ramone, so you had this field in the band, and that creates a story that's also fascinating in the Ramones too. So it's
Yeah,
always
that
I don't
makes
know
them that
good
makes
signs.
them that makes them interesting. That I
Yeah,
can agree with that, because the dynamic between these two was something different. It was weird,
yeah.
actually. So we
M-
can say that Ramones,
maybe yeah, maybe the
in
Ramones
this
wouldn't be
regard,
the Ramones with this rivalry, this tension between them. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. So I agree, but yeah, to sum it up, just kill your idols, and
Yeah, yeah,
there is no that's
yeah.
also another
Learn
thing.
from them, but don't
Yeah,
don't
learn
hold
from
them.
them, but don't treat them as half gods or demigods or
Yeah,
whatever. That's the
exactly.
thing with today's. You have that's the thing with YouTubers,
Yeah,
like people who do actual plays. They have fans, and if something wrong will happen, it's like I don't know, cold shower for a lot of people. It would be avoided if people would have more healthy attitude toward creators, like normal
yeah,
one. Not like a fan idol relationship.
yeah. That's true. Uh, Lucas, do you have you ever seen or like a ghost or alien or anything supernatural, or do you believe in anything like this could exist or does exist?
I think that's yeah. I'm sure. I didn't have any. But do you mean supernatural? You mean supernatural like ghosts, but you also mean like UFO and
Yeah,
outer
I mean,
like interterrestrial?
yeah, exactly
When
that.
it comes to UFO, I'm certain that we are not alone in space.
Do you think they
If
have been here?
humanity, what?
Do you think
Sorry.
aliens? Do you think
Yeah, I think
aliens
that.
having been here?
Yeah, I think so. And when they just realized what a stupid bunch we are, they just went home. Probably, if they weren't caught by I don't know military Chinese, American, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm uh, I'm of course I'm not sure that they visited Earth, but I'm sure that we are not alone in space because it's impossible. I don't, it's we can't be the only thinking uh, thinking species, because as the whole species thinking doesn't, we don't do well. And when it comes to ghosts, uh, I don't know. I think that there is something like ghosts. I can say that I didn't have any kind of, I didn't meet any ghosts in my life, not at all.
Oh yeah.
But especially when someone close to us died, goes away, like my parents, I dream about them a lot. Like I dream about my dad like every night.
Oh yeah.
So somehow these people appear around us. I don't want to say that during daylight, when we are doing our, I don't know, when we are in work or something, but yeah, it's I would believe, I can say that I believe in ghosts, or maybe I don't disbelieve. Oh, that's the better word.
No, yeah. And now, one more like silly, whimsical questions. First, to close the show. We're a little bit over 2 hours, and if you could have, well, that's a great for you. You like comics, so that's something
Yeah.
I think will be familiar. So if you could have any superpower, what superpower would you choose to have, and what would be the first thing you would do with it?
Huh. I won't be original at all, but I would like to be like Superman, and and sort out some shit worldwide, and then I
Oh
could,
yeah.
I could have a nice vacation and all. I would just, world. I know how does it sound. It's like Miss World or something, but yeah, like being very strong, invincible, or Superman style, and do world peace. Uh, that's the, when you read comics like Superman, you need to uh, you need to hang your disbelief very very high,
Yeah.
because at his place, if you would be Clark Kent, aka Superman, you would do world peace, uh, like immediately.
You think so? How would he accomplish that? I mean, what can he do to achieve world peace, really?
Oh man, at least I would, at least he could try more.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think it's not something one person can accomplish. Like super. Maybe he can destroy our weapons and take all
Yes,
missiles out. At least
for
that,
example,
Yeah, yeah.
destroy weapons and just do
People
something
are still
more.
gonna be jerks and terrible people, but at least we don't have weapons for a while until they make more, and we have to destroy it again. I guess.
Yeah, but I would be like, if I would like to have the whole package, not a
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
not a
I love
one.
the intention. I'm just like kind of cynic, and as like an atheist, don't believe anything. Yeah, that would be great, but I don't think Superman can do it. I think they would take him out somehow. They would figure
Hmm.
some these motherfuckers,
Yeah, maybe, maybe.
Yeah, but I love the intention. I think that's as I said, those questions are silly and whimsical, but they tell something about you, and what's the first thing you thought about was I want to help people, and that tells really something important about you, and I love
Yeah,
you
but
for that.
I also mentioned vacations, so
Wow, but the first thing you solve problem and then you rest,
yeah,
so
it's
that's
it's
great.
like,
Yeah,
what would be the point of having,
yeah,
superpower if you wouldn't
even
solve any problems with it?
yeah. Even Superman would need vacations too, even if he solve
Like
problems,
like
especially if he
like
solve problems, right?
yeah, yeah.
And another thing, if you could take anything like from comics, from literature, for games, any weird, fantastical or science fiction thing, and make it real in our world, what would you choose and why? It could
Oh
be like
man.
a superhero team, or alien race, or a place, or a superpower, anything.
Huh. I'm thinking, thinking loud, uh, thinking loud, and really, it's it's hard to say. It is hard
Yeah,
question. Uh, First of all, I thought that it would be interesting to have like dwarves, elves, etc. But the end would be bad, knowing us as knowing humankind. Uh, and the second thing I thought was similar to my first answer, like having some people with superpower who would help other people, like having
yeah.
superheroes would be nice. But again, having
Have you
superheroes
seen The
would
Boys?
mean that we would have supervillains, and
Yeah,
and we know from comics how does it how does it
yeah,
end, however it
yeah.
sounds. So
Do you like the?
really I don't have honestly I don't have
An
idea,
answer. Yeah,
don't have any
yeah,
idea, especially when my one of my favorite genres of comics is post-apocalypse. Whatever we say,
yeah.
whatever I read, like when you take American comics, one of my favorites is Jack Kirby's Kamandi,
Oh
post-apocalypse.
yeah,
When we take manga, Akira, post-apocalyptic, Feast of the North Star, post-apocalyptic. European Jans is or known as Hans is also post-apocalypse. So we wouldn't like to have anything of that
Yeah.
now.
Well,
So
one
I
thing
don't
that
have,
immediately came to my mind when I asked you was, wow, Jurassic Park would be a cool place to have, some place you can go
but
see dinosaurs.
they didn't manage. It was like
Yeah,
six
that's
movies about
true.
shitty management of theme park. So
Yeah,
we
we can
shouldn't
try
have
again.
we shouldn't have dinosaurs.
I'm willing to try again. I mean,
Yeah.
I would do that sacrifice. I would try it if they give me one. Well, Lucas, that was all the questions I have for you. I want to say thank you for being here and for talking and being open and honest and sharing about your life, about your work, about stuff you go through. And I'm really thankful for the opportunities I had to work with you, to talk to you. And I'm really hoping we can continue to work and do things together. I'm really glad you're like the bad periods of the year for you is starting like to settle down. We're being able to feel a little bit better, and like myself, we have to keep going and remember what's grateful. So I'm grateful for you being here today. And do you have anything you want to say to the readers out there who are listening to us before we go out?
Oh, first of all, thanks for having me. Second, thanks for if anyone managed to listen to more than 2 hours of me talking. Uh, that's a real achievement. Congratulations. There are no rewards for it. So
There is the wisdom they
so
got it
the last
for
I have the last laugh. Uh, it was very nice and refreshing, and I would like to. It would be great to do more podcast because after 1 hour of talking, my English improves immediately, and I am able to talk better. So I need
Let's
to.
do more. For sure.
I need to talk more in this language because somehow people don't want to learn Polish. Somehow people don't want to learn Portuguese.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
want to
and
learn
we need to
Portuguese.
use English. It was a real pleasure. There is a weekend ahead of us. Please take care of
Yeah.
yourself.
It's Friday.
Yeah, so take care of yourself and have a good one.
Yeah. And Lucas, can you take us out saying, the catchphrase of the show? Keep it weird, everybody.
Yes, of course. Keep it weird, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Weird Games and Weirder People. If you'd like to keep up with the show, please subscribe to be notified when we release new episodes. If you'd like to support us, please leave a review or head on to code-fi.com/WGNWP. See you next time, and remember, weird is the new wonderful.